Mr. Chair, thank you very much for your patience and indulgence. Mr. Chair, I think it's a sad thing that these SOPs we're debating tonight and these changes to Clause 87 are built upon, sadly, a falsehood. And I want to join in with my colleagues who say that it is lamentable that we see employment arrangements with enormous power imbalances in New Zealand. People who find that their options for jobs that people will offer them that they can do are very limited. And on the other hand, employers who find that there are conversely quite a large number of people who wish to do the jobs that they're offering. And that does lead to the situations that we've heard about tonight and that have been reported widely in the press. Mr. Speaker, if we were to very quickly try to diagnose why that is, we might say that it relates to, first of all, globalisation, the collapse of communism, better technology, bigger economies of scale in various industries, and much more competition for jobs around the world and low-skilled jobs in particular. But, Mr. Speaker, let's be very clear that if we accept that diagnosis, nothing in this bill is going to change that basic balance between, or nothing in these SOPs, sorry, Mr. Chair, is going to change that basic balance between the number of jobs that the people we've all been talking about have at their availability and the number of people that employers find trying to get those jobs. In fact, sadly, Mr. Chair, this particular series of SOPs around Clause 87 is actually going to further restrict the range of jobs and opportunities available to precisely the people that so many have stood up tonight to try and defend. Mr. Chair, it's sad because there will be a couple of winners from the SOPs being debated tonight. And the first is the people who have stood up and lauded, often in a sort of circular way themselves, and those that have helped them get this particular series of changes over the line politically. Because while the conditions faced by the people they purport to help will not fundamentally change, the people championing these changes, of course, will no longer have to worry about the circumstances they've lamented tonight. They won't exist anymore because this House has used its power to ban them. So bully for them. Won't they feel better about themselves for having done this? Mr. Chair.
Yeah, the member will resume a seat when I stand, and I'm now going to ask him to address the part and the amendments thereto. This is a detailed discussion, not a broad discussion. David Seymour.
Well, Mr. Chair, I would conclude my statements because I think I'm being as specific as I need to be about these particular clauses, except to say, in reference to the debate that we've heard throughout this evening, that there are real uncertainties about what will be a reasonable basis for cancelling a shift, for instance. I hope this is being specific enough now, Mr. Chair. And Mr. Chair, several members, many in favour of the amendments, have gotten up and said, well, of course, that will have to be addressed by the courts and interpreted by the courts. Mr. Chair, we might ask, what is a reasonable level of proportionality between guaranteed hours and hours where the worker is required to be available? Mr. Chair, there's another set of winners from answering those particular questions, who I'm sure are popping champagne corks all over New Zealand tonight. And those are the employment lawyers who will tell you that new rules always mean new opportunities to help their clients. And Mr. Chair, not only will they benefit from the uncertainty that those proposed amendments introduce, but they will introduce a dead weight loss of uncertainty into the New Zealand labour market, once again most concentrated on the very people that these amendments were designed to help employment opportunities. So, Mr. Chair, it is a sad day, first of all, for the problem that the amendments sought to solve, but also, and all the more so, for the ineffectual nature of the amendments and for the deadweight costs that they're going to introduce into New Zealand's labour market by introducing new uncertainty, sadly all necessitated by a political cop-out. Thank you, Mr Chair.